Good morning, everybody. Hi. Welcome back to Safalta School. I hope you're all doing great. So, my name is Nandini, and I am the English teacher here. I've been teaching English here at Safalta School, and we have been coming with, these small um, videos for your revision, for your board exam revisions for CBSE Term 2 particularly. And me and my faculty members, all of us are trying really hard so that we can help you with these short capsules. And these short capsules, we are hoping that it helps you in your effective revision. So yes, welcome back to Safalta School, and today we'll be doing some effective strategies for the reading passage, and we will also be revising Indigo. But before I start, I would really urge you, request you to like, comment and subscribe to Safalta School, our YouTube channel. Also press the bell icon, because all of us here at Safalta School are trying really hard so that all of you can benefit from these small videos that we are coming up on an everyday basis for all subjects. So whichever subject you feel stuck in, whichever subject you feel a little lost in, wherever you feel a little wherever you feel that this subject is very difficult and you may not be able to score, we are hoping, and that's a constant endeavor that these videos can really help you out. All right, so without wasting too much time, let's get into the video. So like I said, we are going to be doing some effective strategies for the reading passage, and we're also going to look at some important aspects of this chapter called Indigo. Okay, you have only two chapters in your main textbook course, that is Indigo and the Rat Trap, and today we are going to be having a look at Indigo. So let's start with the reading passage. Now, what happens mostly is, so this year, because of the pandemic, we all know that this year the syllabus was divided in term 1 and term 2, and that's how you had your exams. You had one separate exam for term 1 and one separate exam for term 2, and your paper is going to be for 40 marks and it's going to be for 2 hours. Now, what happens usually in reading passage, this is my experience with teaching English for so many years now, what students do generally is that they first read the whole passage, no matter how long it is or how short it is. They will first read the whole passage, then they go to the questions, they read the questions, and then again go back to the passage hoping to find their answers. And then you start underlining the important lines, the important words, and the whole process takes about let's say about 45 minutes, and you're going to have two reading passages, so, or even if it is one, you'll land up wasting about 45 minutes to 55 minutes, maybe even an hour, to do the entire reading passage. And then it makes no sense, right? Because you have to do the writing passage also. Grammar, of course, you don't have, but then you have an equal amount of literature section to cover, which has prose, which has poetry, which has your supplementary lessons as well. And you have to write a lot. It's an English exam, of course you have to write a lot. So today we are going to discuss some tips, some technique which helps you to cover this reading passage quickly and effectively. And mind you, students, whosoever watches this video later, or whosoever is watching this video right now with me, please remember that the strategy that I'm telling you today will also help you with all your exams, the competitive exams that you give after class 12th also. So as you all know, there are a lot of competitive exams in our country that we can give. So for example, there's the NDA exam or the CDS exam. These days you also have the CU set exam, which is the Central University Common Entrance Test, right? Then you also have, some people want to give the UPSC exam or the banking exams, once you are done with graduation. English is an important aspect of all these lessons. All these exams. English is a very important part of all these exams. And reading passage will be asked, because one of the key aspects of English is reading, comprehending, understanding whatever you have read. So reading passage will always be asked, and there's no point wasting so much of time in the reading passage, because honestly you don't have to do a thesis in it. You don't have to do like write research papers on the reading passage, right? So you should be in a situation where effectively you can look for answers, write your answers effectively, and that's it. That should be your only objective when you're doing reading passage. So let's begin with the strategy. So the strategy is a backward approach. And what is the backward approach? You read the questions first. Yes, you heard that right. Read the questions first. What happens when you read the questions? You will have them in your head, right? If you can't seem to remember the questions or what is being asked in the questions, underline the question. Okay, very important. Underline what is being asked in the question. Now, with those questions in mind, then go back to your reading passage. So I hope that makes a little sense, or you're all confused, because this is not the traditional orthodox approach of doing the reading passage. It is a new approach. Not a new approach. A lot of people who have been getting good marks in English reading sections have been using this. We also use this same strategy for IELTS preparation. So IELTS is an exam that you give if you want to go out to study abroad, right, or to work abroad. So in that also you have a reading section, and in that section also we adopt the same strategy. What is the strategy? I'm repeating myself again. Don't read the passage first. Very important. Don't read the passage first. Read the questions first. If you can't remember what is being asked in the questions, underline the question, because when you underline what is being asked, it stays in your head, right? And then go back to the reading passage. So what do you have to do? You are reading the passage with a sole objective to get the answers from there. You're not doing it to, understand it first and then answer. You're just reading it to get your answers from there. Simple and straightforward. That's your only objective. That is to get your answers right from the passage. So read the questions first. If you don't remember the question, underline the question, what is being asked in the question, go back to the passage, and then, search for your answers from there. Now, a lot of times children ask me that, ma'am, the most difficult part of the reading passages are those difficult words. They are a pain, because there will obviously be those difficult words which you never know, which you cannot understand the meaning of. So I understand. This is, even if with my experience, my expertise, even if I were to do a reading passage, it's quite possible that there are some words that even I don't know. Yeah, right? There are some words that even I cannot figure out the meaning of. So what do I do? Or when I was giving these exams, what did I do as a student? What did I do when I was, giving all these most important exams of my life? Even when I was giving these exams to become an English language trainer, these are the two strategies that I adopted to get maximum marks in that portion where they ask you the meaning of some phrasal verb, or to exchange the word with a similar meaning, or to underline the meaning of a difficult word. Whatever it may be, there were two things that I used to do, which I'm going to write here. First is, if you don't understand something, one second, I'm just going to, yeah. So, yeah. Number one is understand the meaning of the word from the sentence itself. A lot of times when we read words, when we read a sentence and you come across a difficult word, you will realize that you are able to do that just by reading the sentence. You come across a new word, you will not even need the dictionary. When you read the sentence, the entire sentence, you will be able to understand the meaning of you will be able to understand the meaning of the word itself. So it is not necessary that you know the dictionary meaning. Even if you can find out the meaning of the word from the sentence, you're good to go. You will get marks, right? And if I don't understand that, I make it a point to underline that particular word and the paragraph. Very, very important. Now see, any exam, whether you're from CBSE board or whether you're from UP board or any other board in this country, please remember that these exams are designed in a manner so that you can score, especially CBSE. The exam is, designed in a manner that you can score. Yes, it's not a competitive exam, it's not an AIMS exam, or it is not your IIT exam. These are exams, which are specifically designed so that you can score. Now, if you don't even understand the meaning of these words through the sentences, the second approach is that you remember the word, underline the word in the passage and remember the paragraph. Because I'll give you an example later on when we, when we proceed further, that whenever they have given you questions at the end, they have also mentioned the paragraph number. So rest be assured that whichever difficult word they are asking you from, it is from the paragraph that they have mentioned there. I'll repeat myself. The question that they have asked you of the difficult word, whether it is synonyms or the phrasal verb or the antonyms or whatever, it is from the same paragraph number that they have asked from, that they have mentioned over there. So you need not go here and there. You will just focus on that particular paragraph. You don't have to focus anywhere else. Now, once your entire focus is on that particular paragraph, there are 70% chances that you will be able to, there are 70% chances that you will be able to get the meaning right. Now, if you don't, you may say that, ma'am, if you don't, what will happen? Listen, let's say this entire thing is for 10 marks. I'm just giving you a hypothetical example. Let's say it is for 10 marks, right? Now, if this is for 10 marks, with the backward approach that I told you, please be rest assured that you'll get at least 6 or 7 marks out of 10 with the backward approach. And let's say you're not able to score at all in these word related, the vocabulary related questions. In that case also, you will have worked out at least 60% to 70% of the marks in the reading passage itself. So you will not face a problem per se. Okay. So I hope I've made myself extremely clear. Should I think I'll repeat myself once more. Just 1 second. Okay. Now, I'm going to repeat myself once again. What is the approach? It's the backward approach. The backward approach is that you read the questions first. If you don't remember the questions, you're going to underline what is being asked in the questions. You're going to go back to the reading passage. Somebody's joined me in the chat, in the live session today. Hi, good morning. You can send me a hello or a smiley in the comment section so that I know who you are. Anyway, let's proceed. So, the first one is, you read the passage. Sorry, what am I saying? My bad. Sorry. You first read the questions, then you go back to the passage with the sole objective to understand the meaning, the answers of your questions. Okay, you do your entire section based on that, and then with the remaining words that you have, the difficult words that you have, the questions related to difficult words. It could be synonyms, it could be antonyms, it could be phrasal verbs, anything, right? So what are you going to do? You are going to use two techniques. First is you are going to understand the meaning of these words from the sentence given. If you don't understand, please remember one thing, that the answer to your vocabulary related questions will be given in the paragraph number that is mentioned in the question. The answer to the vocabulary related questions will be given in the paragraph number that is specifically mentioned in the question, and that is mentioned in all the questions, vocabulary related questions. So you would not have a problem. Okay, let me put this over here. Can I? Yeah, I hope you can read this here. So that is how you will be able to do your reading passage. Okay, now we'll quickly go through an example so that you understand it better. Let's go ahead. Let's say this is your passage. Okay, now this is a random passage that I have taken. This is not a passage from don't think that Nandini ma'am made you do this, so this is the one that is going to be asked. No, it's nothing like that. This is just for practice. Okay, let's say this is a 4-paragraph question. What am I going to do? I'm going to first read the questions. I skipped the passage and I'm going to first read the questions here. Now let's see, what does the author mean by the statement, everyone has something to sell? Now the statement, one second, I don't know why I have to do this every day in my laptop. Anyway, so what is the meaning of what does the author mean when he says everyone has something to sell? Okay, what is the meaning of this? Now, I'm just giving an example. Second one says, what is the difference between a beggar and a tramp? Now, the first question is, everyone has something to sell. Let's go back to the passage. Now, since it's the first question, the probability of finding the answer will be there in the first question itself. Since it's the first question, the probability, again I'm repeating the word probability, it is not 100% sure, it's the probability that you will find it in the first paragraph itself, right? So let's see, here it says, it is said that everyone lives by selling something. Now once you read the first line, you know somewhere that you're going to get your answer here. So if you read this part, you will be able to get your answer. It says that the teachers live by selling knowledge, philosophers live by selling wisdom, and priests earn their living by selling spiritual comfort. Though it may be possible to measure the value of material good in terms of money, it is extremely difficult to estimate the true value of the services which people perform for us. Now, so this part is useless for us, this little part, this we don't need. So what does the author, this is your answer over here. What does the author, the question was, what does the author mean by the statement, everyone has something to sell? It is there in the first 5 lines of your passage, that, you know, everyone is selling something to make a living. Teachers are selling their knowledge, philosophers are selling their wisdom, and priests are, they make a living for themselves by, you know, selling spiritual comfort. So everybody is selling something. Now, if you just write this answer, trust me, you will get 2 marks or whatever, 1 mark, 2 marks or whatever it is. I think it is for 8 marks. The whole passage is for 8 marks. Okay. Then let's go. The next question was, what is the difference between a beggar and a tramp? Now, I remember the question because I know how to do this. I'm used to doing the reading passage in this way. If you are not used to it, you can do, even if you do one by one, you will be good to go. Now let's see the difference between the tramp and the beggar. Now if you scan this particular paragraph, you will realize that the words tramp and beggar are not given here. Yes, the words tramp and beggar are not given here. So you will not find the answer to this question in this paragraph. Now if I go to the third paragraph, which is a longer paragraph, it starts with the word tramp and it also has the words beggar. Now if you read, so what is scanning? Scanning is when you don't actually read the sentences word by word, but when you just go through it, you're just looking for particular information. That is called scan. Okay, and what you're doing here is you're looking for words tramp and beggar. You're looking for words like tramp and beggar so that you know that you want the difference between tramp and beggar. So if you read this here, it says tramp seems to be the only exception to the general rule. Beggars almost sell themselves as human beings to arouse the pity of passers-by, but real tramps are not beggars. They have nothing to sell and require nothing from others. In seeking independence, they do not sacrifice their human dignity. A tramp may ask you for money, but he will never ask you to feel sorry for him. He has deliberately chosen to lead the life he leads and is fully aware of the consequences. So, basically, the difference is that the beggar will go to any extent to arouse the feeling of pity in you, right? That means you will always have that feeling, oh, you know, it's a beggar, hasn't eaten, let me give them some food, right? It will be out of this pity feeling that you have, sympathetic feeling that you have, that you will give money to them. And they will go to any extent to rouse that feeling in you. However, the tramps will never do that. They will never sacrifice their dignity for it, their self-respect for it. Okay, so that's the difference between tramps and beggars. Now you understand how you do it. Please remember to scan the passage. Scan means just looking for important information or important words, whereas when you can see those important words, that's when you read the passage and you will know what to do. Okay, so I hope this is very clear. I'm going to repeat myself again. What did I do? I went through the first two questions of this reading passage. I went through the first two questions. The first two questions, you can underline what is being asked. Most likely, probability. Please, I'm insisting on these words. I'm giving a stress on these words because that's important. Most likely, the probability of finding the first answer in the first paragraph is very high. So that's how you're going to start. Okay. Now, everybody has something to sell was what the first question was. I mean, the first question was, what is the meaning of this statement? So we went to the first paragraph. We scanned the paragraph. We saw the line. Everyone has something to sell. And then we read it. We got our answer. Then the second one was, what is the difference between tramp and beggar? What is the difference between tramp and beggar? So we went through this, we scanned the second paragraph. We did not find words tramp and beggar. So we went to the third paragraph and we found these words. When we found those words, that is when we read the entire paragraph and we got our answer. 1 second. Okay. Right. Now, let's go ahead. Let's look at the vocabulary related questions. Very important and the most difficult ones, right? See here. Which word, see this, E, F, G. Which word in paragraph 2 means the same as feel aggrieved about? So this is how, you can get the question, or you can also get this question like this. I'm just going to quickly write it here. Replace the phrase feel aggrieved about. 1 second. Yeah. Feel aggrieved about in one word. And you might get something like this. Paragraph 2. So this is how it can be reframed also. Replace the phrase feel aggrieved about in one word, and in the bracket it will be written paragraph 2. I've written the wrong. I don't know why I make so many typing errors. Yeah. Paragraph 2. Which word in paragraph 2 means the same as feel aggrieved about? Or replace the phrase feel aggrieved about in one word. Similar meaning. Now what did I tell you? Now you feel aggrieved about means when you are hurt about something. Aggrieved means hurt about something, right? So you're going to go back to paragraph 2 and you're going to specifically look for the meaning. Now here I am sure, see, keep your focus very clear to paragraph 2. Keep your focus extremely clear about paragraph 2. So this is paragraph 2. Let's see here. There are times when we would willingly give everything we possess to save our lives, yet we might grudge paying a surgeon a high fee for offering us precisely the same service, right? The conditions of society are such that skills have to be paid for in the same way that that goods are paid for at a shop. Everyone has something to sell. So read the first line again and you will get your answer. There are times when we would willingly give everything we possess to save our lives. So, obviously when we are ill, when our lives are in danger, we are ready to pay anything to save our lives. But here it says, yet we might grudge, right? And we do that if we have to pay a doctor or a hospital a very high fees for treating the same condition. Now, grudge is your word. Okay, grudge means that you feel hurt about, you feel angry about it. Okay? All right. Let's go to the next one now. So, I hope till now it is clear. I hope till now it is absolutely clear. Now, for example, you have this one. which of the following words is the synonym of determine in paragraph 1? It could simply mean write the synonym of determine in paragraph 1, right? So we will go back to paragraph 1 here. See here. It is said that everyone lives by selling something. What you can understand by this statement is teachers live by selling knowledge, philosophers sell by selling wisdom, and priests earn their living by selling spiritual comfort. We are looking for a synonym of determine. Though it may be possible to measure the value of material goods in terms of money, it is extremely difficult to estimate the true value of the services which people perform for us. Now, in all of this, there is one word which can replace determine, and that is estimate. So you have your answer. Answer is estimate. Okay, so you go back to the same paragraph which is mentioned, and then you answer. So here your answer is going to be grudge. The answer is going to be grudge, and here your answer is going to be estimate. Okay, so I hope now this has become extremely clear to you on how you have to manage your reading passage. Okay, and trust me, if you do this, you will be able to, if you use this strategy, you will be using less time. You will be using less time. You will also be in that less time getting the maximum out of the reading passage. So you may not get 8 out of 8, but definitely manage a 5 out of 8, right? Which is about 70% of the marks in reading passage itself. So of course there are students who have no problem in reading passage at all. In fact, they don't have a problem in English only as such, right? But there are students who have a lot of problem in the reading passage because they do not understand the answers. They do not even get marks in it, and they waste a lot of time in the reading passage. So this is precisely for those students that, instead of not being able to score, instead of not being able to complete your reading passage, or instead of wasting too much of time on your reading passage and ultimately not being able to finish your exam, it's much better to adapt this particular strategy, because it is not only going to help you with your class 12th exams, but it's also going to help you with your exams that you give after class 12, the competitive exams that you give after class 12th. Okay, so with that we come to the end of reading passage. Now we are going to start with Indigo, and before that I'm just going to have a sip of water. 1 second. Right, so let's start with the main main characters. I'll come to them later, but let's start with the passage, the lesson of Indigo. Now Indigo is an interesting lesson. It's actually tells us about how the British how this freedom struggle against the British started. Yes, so mostly when we study in history, we understand that the movement started from the first movement, that is the non-cooperation movement, that started in 1919. But then when we read this lesson, we understand that no, it started with the Indigo plantations movement in Champaran, and how Champaran led the basis, it led the foundation of the strong movement of India's freedom struggle against the British, right? So it is, now the main characters of this particular lesson are of course Rajkumar Shukla and Mahatma Gandhi. And from an exam, so we are not going into the details of the lesson because we don't have that much time, and by now I'm hoping that you would have at least done that. You know the story. So we are going to discuss the important questions and the important aspects of this lesson, right? Now the first one is the character of Rajkumar Shukla itself. So of course the central protagonist is Mahatma Gandhi, but the man who brought Mahatma Gandhi to Champaran and Motihari was Rajkumar Shukla. So the character sketch of Rajkumar Shukla becomes very important. See, in those times, only well-known lawyers or literate people or rich business class people, politicians were close to people like Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi did not really have access to the common man. Rajkumar Shukla was as common as he could get. He was a poor peasant. He was not literate. He did not know how to read and write. He was a poor peasant from Champaran who wished to alleviate his community, the community of indigo planters, from suffering at the hands of British. And he was determined for it. He did not want to give in. So he followed Mahatma Gandhi everywhere till Mahatma Gandhi actually came down to Champaran, right? So the character sketch of Rajkumar Shukla and what role did Rajkumar Shukla play in this movement is very important, because he was the first man who convinced Mahatma Gandhi to actually come to Champaran and at least have a look at whatever was happening. And once Mahatma Gandhi went there, he realized that yes, the people of Champaran, of Motihari needed a lot of help. So it was Rajkumar Shukla who actually, galvanized the whole movement. We can use the word galvanized. I'm writing this here. He galvanized the whole movement against the British. Okay? He galvanized the whole movement against the British. So, the character sketch of Rajkumar Shukla is very important. What are the words that you can use for him? Illiterate, of course. Illiterate. Yes, English teachers also might have a problem with spelling sometimes. Illiterate, poor, resolute, determined, compassionate. Why was he compassionate? Because he was not only thinking about himself, but he was thinking about his whole society of indigo farmers. So he was resolute, determined, and he was self-reliant. How was he self-reliant? He was self-reliant because he did not hope that any other indigo farmer would come and help him or any other person would come and help him. He went on his own, followed Mahatma Gandhi for many months, and only then Mahatma Gandhi agreed to come to Champaran. So, but he did it all on his own. So he was self-reliant. Okay. So with whatever discussion whatever discussion we've had till now about Rajkumar Shukla, or whatever I have told you about Rajkumar Shukla right now, is the reason why it is the reason why this man actually changed the course of Indian history completely. It took a U-turn after that. So his determination and his courage actually changed the course of Indian history. That's another question that can be asked. So apart from the character sketch of Rajkumar Shukla, what can be asked is his determination and courage. How his determination and his courage. Yes, you can use the word courageous also for him. Yes. So how his determination, how his courage changed the course of Indian history. So these are the two aspects that are extremely important as far as Rajkumar Shukla is concerned. Then, excuse me. After that, of course, there's Mahatma Gandhi. So Mahatma Gandhi, the character sketch of Mahatma Gandhi is very important. Of course, and then we all know he is called as the father of the nation. Why is he called father of the nation? That is also very important, and he displays these qualities in this movement itself. It is, see, he had 4-5 qualities in him, but it's not as if in one movement he showed one quality and in the next movement he showed 2 qualities. It was because of these qualities that he displayed during this Champaran movement that actually made him the father of the nation. Okay. So again, this aspect of the lesson becomes very important. And how his life changed after the Indigo movement. This question can be asked in many ways. So life changed after Indigo movement. How was Champaran? Wait, I'll just write this in short. Champaran being the starting point for the struggle for freedom. Okay. And or how Champaran changed the course of Indian history completely. Yes. So all these become, the same question can be asked in multiple ways, and I have written them over here. So how did life change after the Indigo movement? How did Champaran So after Champaran, so starting point for the struggle for freedom. How did it become the starting point for the struggle for freedom in India? How Champaran changed the course of Indian history? All of it. It means the same. Okay? It means the same. The answer remains the same, but of course your wordings are going to be different. Now let's go ahead and see some specific questions that can be asked. Out of which some of them we've already discussed in the discussion that we've just had. Okay. So the first question is, why is Rajkumar Shukla considered resolute? Why is he considered resolute? So I've already given you the answer. See, he was a self-reliant man. He was a courageous man. So he did not wait for others to come and help him. In fact, he went all out by himself, despite being poor, despite being illiterate. He went, and despite just being a peasant, he made sure that he, followed Mahatma Gandhi till Mahatma Gandhi actually agreed to come to Champaran, right? So he first met him in the Lucknow session. I think that was in 1916. And then he met him in, so then after the Lucknow session, I think he was asked to come to Kanpur, and after Kanpur, they went to Calcutta. So, it was I may be wrong. Maybe after Lucknow, they went to Calcutta, not going into the specific details, but that's what it is. He followed him till he actually agreed to come to Champaran. So that is how determined he was. Resolute is another word for determined. Okay, determined are people who don't give up. So what was the attitude of the average Indian towards the home rule? Simple. They were scared. What was the attitude? They were scared of the negative consequences. Scared of the negative consequences. Because if they asked for home rule, then there would have been consequences, right? They would have maybe increased the taxes. The British would have increased the taxes. They would have made sure that the sufferings of the people increase. For example, these farmers themselves, their sufferings could have increased. So they were scared of the negative consequences, which is why they did not have the courage to ask for home rule also. And please remember, we are sitting in 1917, and it was only the Quit India movement in 1942 that we were asked, we finally had the courage to ask for home rule. We are still in 1917, which is why they were very scared of the negative consequences of the home rule. Actually, it was not the negative consequence of the home rule, it was the negative consequences of asking for home rule. So basically, fear-stricken. The word is fear-stricken. Okay, the word is fear-stricken. Alright, now fear-stricken means when you are trapped with fear. You feel so scared that you don't want to ask anything, right? Now, this is one of the important questions, that why did Mahatma Gandhi feel that it was useless taking the Champaran cases to court? See, if the courts could have done something, then it would have already done it, and we would not have needed a Mahatma Gandhi to come and solve the problem. So Mahatma Gandhi, being a lawyer himself, he understood this when he read the contracts of people, and when he saw the poverty of the people, when he saw the situation of those farmers, he understood that there was no point in going to the court, because court was obviously not ready to help. And the more than giving legal help, they needed a help in which they became fear free. What was more important was that these people became free from fear, and that the courts could not do, because if they could have done something, they would have done it anyway. Mahatma Gandhi's help would not have would not be needed. So that is why going to court was useless. Then, of course, there are these things of why Mahatma Gandhi did not take the help of this lawyer called C.F. Andrews. Why did he settle for 25% refund? Why not 100% refund? So, he did not take the help of the British lawyer C.F. Andrews. Why? Because he wanted the movement to be self-reliant. He wanted the movement, he wanted that they should win this struggle based on, he did not want outside help, or in fact, he did not want people to believe that they won because of outside help, right? So that is why he did not take the help of C.F. Andrews, and also because if some outside if somebody from the British community would have helped them, then it brings out that impression that they won because of this gentleman, CF Andrews. And second, they would have they would have, because of this impression, the Indians would not have become self-reliant, right? Because they would have felt that somebody from the British can take care of it. So that is the reason why he did not take help of CF Andrews. Then why did he agree for a 25% refund? See, when they were offered that only 25%, obviously they won the case, and then there was an inquiry committee, and there were more than 25,000 complaints against the British landlords and the zamindars, and they were offered only 25% refund. And why? One second. Yes. So, yeah. So, 25% refund, because this was a way to keep the deadlock going, because the British were very sure. The British were very, very sure that, they would not be able to. The Britishers were very sure that Gandhi would not agree to a 25% refund. They were extremely sure of that. And once they were very sure of that, they thought that the deadlock would continue. However, he agreed to the 25% return because refund. Why did he agree to it? He agreed to it because he felt that their prestige being broken was more important. He felt that, and it is true also, that the fact that they could that the Britishers could lose a battle against Indians was more important, and that gave a boost of confidence to the Indians also, right? Which is why he agreed to the 25% refund, and he did not ask for a 100% refund, because in view of whatever was happening, see, Gandhi never took it as from the very beginning. If you read this chapter, Gandhi never took this struggle as a financial struggle. He took this as a struggle which was related to fear. The peasants were so fear-stricken that they did not want to do anything beyond that fear. They were helpless at that point of time. So he realized that once they break this fear-stricken trap that they are in, they will once they break this fear-stricken trap, then that is only the time when they'll be able to fight for themselves even in future, right? So that is why he agreed for the 25% refund. So I hope these are clear these short answer questions are clear to you. One more thing that I want to ask you, there's one more thing that I want to tell you, that these, please remember, these are important questions. The same questions can be asked you in a different way, and some other questions can also be asked you. So it's not as if that, and it goes for every teacher who teaches you on YouTube or even in classrooms, that we might give you some questions. Those are important, but questions can obviously be asked in a different language, or some other question can also be asked. Okay, so it's important that you know the lesson very well, you know your lessons thoroughly, and you are able to answer any sort of questions that comes your way. Alright, now let's go to the long answer questions. So in the long answer questions, again, whatever we have discussed till now can be asked in a long answer question format also, but we'll have a look at a few questions. So first is, give an account of the plight of the indigo planters. Now plight is a word that is always used in a negative connotation. Plight does not mean that somebody is very happy. Plight usually means that somebody is deeply unhappy and is suffering. Now, what was the state of the indigo planters? They were in deep financial distress. They were fear-stricken. And why was it so? Because most of the arable land, arable means the land that can be used for, arable means land that can be used for, growing of crops, right? So the entire land was owned by British landlords. And they had divided this land, and the farmers used to work there and give them some amount. So they used to give some amount of money to the landlords to even work on those farms. That was one amount of expenditure that the farmer was undertaking, right? In any case, they had very small holdings of the land. And then to grow indigo, they had to again give whatever they would grow and sell out of that. And they was growing because there was a contract with the British landlords, because indigo would give a lot of profit to the British. um, they would, so whatever they sold in the market after growing indigo, 15% would have to be given to the British landlords again. So they were in a pretty bad state, because they did not have the money. And if they took loan, so they kept taking loan after loan after loans, because they never had the money to repay those loans, right? And which is why this trap continued to grow, because they could not even leave that particular place and go anywhere, because of that contract that they had. Okay, and because of the money that they had taken on loan. So yes, that is what it means by so that is the entire question, which this is the answer to the entire question, which is the plight of the indigo planters. Now second is, freedom from fear is more important than legal justice for the poor. Explain this line and Gandhi's role in establishing this. So we just discussed that for Mahatma Gandhi, this struggle was never about a financial struggle. He understood from the very beginning that the peasants were so fearful of whatever was happening with them. They were so fearful of the British landlords and the British system in general, that they did not have the courage to stand up for themselves. Had they done that, of course, all of this would not have happened. But they were so fearful that they were not, they could not do anything about it. Now, so what was Mahatma Gandhi's role in it? He showed them with his resilience, with his determination. He stood up for them. And why did he stand up for them? Because he knew that these people were right. And he knew that he was doing it on humanitarian ground. So even though he broke the law at one point in the chapter, when he refuses to adhere to whatever the jail superintendent was telling him to do, he says that I'm setting a bad example by breaking the law, but since he's doing it on humanitarian grounds, it's fine, right? So he stood up for these people to actually lead by example, that there was nothing to be afraid of the British. And once he showed him that, see, these people did not know who Mahatma Gandhi was. And we are sitting in a time when there were no telephones, there was no social media, no Instagram, no Facebook. So we would not, these peasants did not know who Gandhi was. But word spread like wildfire, and there, was a man who was ready to fight for their cause. And once he did that, they came in thousands and lakhs. And, at one point, I think somewhere it says that Motihari had become black with people. Right, black with crowd, which meant that there were so many people who had flocked in from the nearby villages as well. Why? Because there was one man who was willing to stand up for them. So, and that made them fear free, because he was, he refused to go for a trial. Then when his trial was postponed, he was released, even without a bail. And then not only that, he also helped them to overcome, help them socially and culturally as well. So that is why freedom from fear is more important. And then, of course, why is Gandhiji known as the father of the nation? You can write about all his qualities of discipline. You can mention self-reliance. You can mention simplicity. You can mention humanity. Lot of things you can mention, because of which he is the father of the nation. Then why is the episode in Champaran considered to be the beginning of the Indian struggle for independence? I think I've mentioned this, and I've told you about it in the previous, when we were discussing short answer questions. That's when also I've told you. And before that also I've told you why is Champaran considered to be the beginning of the Indian struggle for independence. Because after this, things were never the same. It was the first first successful civil disobedience movement in the country, and that gave such a lot of courage and confidence to the Indians that after that there was no looking back, right? And then the same question can be asked in a different manner as to how did Champaran episode prove to be a turning point in Gandhi's life? Again, same answer, different wordings. Okay. So with that, we come to the end of today's video. We did the strategies for reading passages so that you can attempt the reading passage with in minimum time, and you can get the maximum score out of it. and we discussed the lesson Indigo. Tomorrow will be the video where I'm going to discuss your supplementary reader, and I'm going to discuss rat trap. Yes, and tomorrow your video will, I will go live between 9 to 10 in the morning, not at 11:30. Okay, I'll be going live from 9 to 10 in the morning. So yes, with this we come to the end of today's lesson. Before you go, please like this video, subscribe to Safalta's YouTube channel, and also press the bell icon so that you keep getting regular updates about whenever we are going live or whenever we upload a video. All right, thank you so much. All the best for your preparations, and I'll see you tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Okay, bye bye. Thank you.